Market Mantra. Market Mantra. Market Mantra. Market Mantra. Market Mantra. Market Mantra.
Welcome to Market Mantra, the program in which we give you a complete update on the economic, business and stock market news of the day. I'm Arjun Chaudhary and with me is my co-anchor in Hindi, Amrish Saxena.
नमस्कार। आर्थिक खबरों के कार्यक्रम मार्केट मंत्र में आपका स्वागत है। रोज की तरह आज भी हम आपके लिए देश विदेश की आर्थिक, व्यापारिक और शेयर बाजार से जुड़ी खबरें लेकर हाजिर हैं। प्रमुख समाचारों का हम विश्लेषण भी करेंगे। खास खबरों पर चर्चा के लिए स्टूडियो में आमंत्रित हैं वरिष्ठ आर्थिक विशेषज्ञ पुनीत जैन। पुनीत जी नमस्कार, कार्यक्रम में आपका स्वागत है।
धन्यवाद अमरीश।
पहले हेडलाइंस लेकर हैं अर्जुन चौधरी।
Benchmark domestic stock market indices end with losses. Sensex drops nearly 250 points. Nifty slips below 25,700. Wholesale price inflation edges up to 0.83% in December last year. And in the Indian bullion market, silver prices rise around 5%.
घरेलू शेयर बाजार गिरावट के साथ बंद हुए। सेंसेक्स लगभग 250 अंक गिरा। निफ्टी 25,700 के नीचे जाकर बंद हुआ। पिछले वर्ष दिसंबर में थोक मूल्य सूचकांक पर आधारित मुद्रास्फीति बढ़कर 0.83% पर पहुंच गई और देश के सराफा बाजार में चांदी का मूल्य लगभग 5% तक बढ़ा।
And before we take our main stories in detail, let's have a look at the disclaimer announcement. The views and opinions expressed by the experts in this program are their own and not of Akashvani. Akashvani advises its listeners to do their own research or consult a registered professional before taking any investment decision. We further advise all listeners to exercise due diligence and rely on their own judgment for taking any financial decision.
और आज की पहली खबर, घरेलू शेयर बाजारों के सूचकांक सेंसेक्स और निफ्टी आज लगभग 0.3% की गिरावट के साथ बंद हुए। बाजार में कारोबार की शुरुआत में गिरावट दिखाई दी, लेकिन चुनिंदा शेयरों में खरीदारी के चलते दोपहर तक काफी हद तक घाटे की भरपाई कर ली गई, लेकिन बाद में बाजार बढ़त को कायम नहीं रख पाए और अंत में गिरावट के साथ बंद हुए। सेंसेक्स 245 अंक की गिरावट के साथ 83,383 पर बंद हुआ। निफ्टी 67 अंक गिरकर 25,666 पर आ गया। बंबई शेयर बाजार के व्यापक बाजार ने लचीलापन दिखाया। मिड कैप सूचकांक लगभग 0.2% बढ़ा, जबकि स्मॉल कैप सूचकांक में बढ़त 0.2% से अधिक की रही।
Benchmark domestic equity indices, Sensex and the Nifty ended around 0.3% lower today. The market spared most of the early losses during afternoon trade on the back of value buying in select sectors. However, they failed to sustain the gains and ultimately slipped back into negative zone. Sensex fell 245 points to close at 83,383, while Nifty dropped 67 points to settle at 25,666. The broader stock market at the Bombay Stock Exchange displayed resilience. Mid-cap index added nearly 0.2%, while the small-cap index advanced over 0.2%.
सेंसेक्स में शामिल 30 में से 18 कंपनियों में गिरावट का रुख बना रहा। गिरावट दर्ज करने वाली प्रमुख कंपनियों में एशियन पेंट्स का शेयर 2.4%, टीसीएस का शेयर 2.3% और मारुति का शेयर लगभग 1.8% गिरा। बढ़त दर्ज करने वाली कंपनियों में टाटा स्टील का शेयर 3.4%, एनटीपीसी का शेयर 3.2% और एक्सिस बैंक का शेयर लगभग 3% तक बढ़ा। और यहाँ पर हम अपने श्रोताओं को बता दें कि महाराष्ट्र में कल म्यूनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन चुनाव के लिए मतदान होगा। इसके चलते बंबई शेयर बाजार और नेशनल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज में अवकाश रहेगा। इक्विटी, डेरिवेटिव्स और करेंसी क्षेत्रों में कारोबार स्थगित रहेगा। महाराष्ट्र सरकार ने मतदान के अवसर पर सार्वजनिक अवकाश की घोषणा की है ताकि 29 म्यूनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशंस के लिए मतदान सुगम हो सके। और रुपए का हाल भी जान लेते हैं। अंतर बैंकिंग विदेशी मुद्रा बाजार में डॉलर के मुकाबले रुपया 10 पैसे घटकर 90 रुपए 29 पैसे प्रति डॉलर के स्तर पर दर्ज हुआ। दुनिया की अन्य 6 प्रमुख मुद्राओं की तुलना में डॉलर की मजबूती मापने वाला डॉलर सूचकांक अंतर दिवसीय कारोबार के दौरान 99.08 पर चल रहा था।
We'd also like to add that among the sectoral indices at the Bombay Stock Exchange, 12 out of 22 sectors edged up. In the gainers, metal climbed almost 2.7%, PSU Bank increased over 2.4%, and commodities rose 1.6%. Among the key decliners, focused IT dipped 1.3%, realty dropped nearly 1%, and consumer durables as well as IT shed over 0.9% each. The overall market breadth at the BSE was negative as shares of 2,150 companies declined. 2,017 companies advanced and 177 companies remained unchanged. Puneet, plenty of action in the markets today. We saw metals climbing 2.7%, PSU banks going up by 2.4% in valuation today. But usually what drives a market in the third quarter is the IT index, and that fell by 1%. There is news, of course, about the implications of the labor code, which is obviously beneficial for the employees. But looking at the export market, how would you look at this particular development, which has been a traditional driver of the stock market?
So you're right. I mean, IT sector companies, not only they drive employment in our economy in a very big way, they also drive corporate profits and also earnings in terms of foreign exchange. So it's a very important sector of the economy, and last 20 years we have seen IT companies leading from the front in terms of economic growth, employment, etc. So I think in the last 2-3 years we have seen some kind of a moderation there. We have seen the growth also come off a little bit. Although they're still growing in high single digit numbers, or maybe about 10% odd. But lately we have seen a lot of challenges for IT companies. So I think this sector is going through a transformation right now, driven by changes in law, regulations, as well as new developments like artificial intelligence. And we will see the quality of the earnings transform over the next 2-3 years. Good news is that Indian companies, I think the large Indian IT companies, they're adapting to this change. They are preparing for it. We saw the numbers came in for a couple of big companies this week, TCS, HCL Technologies. These are the top 4-5 companies in the country. And I think the earnings are better than expected. We had expected some pullback in earnings, so they did better. However, I think right now the flavor of the market, the flavor of the season, as you could say, is really commodities. So you see the metal stocks doing very well. Not only gold and silver, which are of course right now the flavor of the season, but even you look at copper, aluminium, steel. All these sectors are doing much better. Prices are up, and we see stocks from these companies also doing much better. And as we saw today, the metal sector index was
it went up by 2.7%, and the reason is, you mentioned about copper in the international market. It has gone up in valuation. But what about our markets? Who are we selling these commodities, base metals to? And of course, there's a linkage of silver as well, because it's a precious metal and an industrial metal. And right now, silver is trading at $91 per troy ounce. 1 kilogram is almost 2,77,000 rupees. So you have a linkage of precious metals with base metals, but typically any valuation of metal companies is based on their earnings. So where is our export market? Who are we selling it to? What are we basing our purchasing of metal stocks on?
So Arjun, two things usually drive prices for all commodities. One, of course, is the demand supply for that particular commodity. If you look at metals, what is the consumption of those metals and what is the production of those metals? So usually in normal times you will see these being balanced out, or prices being driven by whatever gap is between demand and supply. But right now, in the last few months, what has happened is that a lot of money which was in the stock markets and the crypto market, that has been diverted to the metals market. So that is speculative market, or you can say investment money which has gone into commodities. So the kind of sharp rise we've seen in gold and silver, that has not come from sudden spike in demand for these metals for consumption in industries. It is basically investment demand which is either coming from countries which are central banks like China. We have seen Russia buying more gold, more silver, or it has come from investments from retailers who are buying ETFs, or they're physically buying these commodities. So suddenly we find this demand has shot up, and in turn the prices have gone up. Also, that is true for other metals. So it is true for copper also. Although copper is a very industrial metal and there's huge demand for it. But right now, a lot of speculative activity is taking place in copper, in aluminium particularly. And copper particularly right now is really at an all-time high. So I would say that these are very slippery times. Usually, you tend to feel that copper is something which is used in industry, therefore the prices will keep going up. That is not true. These are very volatile times, and therefore I'm emphasizing this aspect of metal prices movement right now, that right now we also have a speculative movement in these commodities.
लेकिन पुनीत जी, जैसा आपने बताया कि काफी इन्वेस्टमेंट के का भी ज्यादा जो कारण है जिसकी वजह से सोने चांदी का दाम बढ़ रहा है, तो क्या इसका कोई रिलेशनशिप आप स्टॉक मार्केट में भी देखते हैं कि जो इन्वेस्टमेंट नॉर्मली कोई जो रिटेल इन्वेस्टर है वो स्टॉक मार्केट में करने की बजाय प्रेशियस मेटल्स की तरफ जा रहा है?
बिल्कुल. अगर हम लोकल बाजार को देखें तो हम ये देखेंगे कि पिछले कुछ एक वर्ष से करीब कोई स्टॉक मार्केट में जो मिड कैप स्मॉल कैप स्टॉक्स हैं वहां पर बहुत ज्यादा पैसा नहीं बना इन्वेस्टर्स का, और उनको बहुत रिटर्न्स नहीं आई है. तो वहां पर जो हॉट मनी है, जिसे आप कह सकते हैं इन्वेस्टमेंट मनी है, ट्रेडिंग मनी है, अब उसको वहां बहुत ज्यादा रिटर्न्स नहीं मिल रहे. और एक तरफ हम देखते हैं कि सोने चांदी में रोज बहुत उछाल आ रहा है. आज ही अभी अर्जुन ने बताया कि $91 यानी करीब करीब 2,90,000 रुपया पर केजी, या करीब करीब 3 लाख रुपए किलो के आप कह सकते हैं. अब चांदी का वो एक नया मार्क है, तो इट अट्रैक्ट्स स्पेकुलेटिव मनी. तो लोकल बाजार की अगर मैं बात करूं, भारत के बाजार की बात करूं, ये बात सही है कि स्टॉक मार्केट से पैसा डाइवर्ट हुआ है कमोडिटीज मार्केट में. कमोडिटी मार्केट में देखिए सिर्फ फिजिकल मार्केट कमोडिटीज नहीं खरीदते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि दुकान पे जाके सोना चांदी खरीद रहे हैं. जो MCX है वहां पर आप सोना चांदी खरीद सकते हैं. वहां काफी स्पेकुलेटिव एक्टिविटी होती है. आप ETF जो जैसे म्यूचुअल फंड्स हैं वो सिल्वर के और गोल्ड के ETF लेके आते हैं. जब आप ETF खरीदते हैं तो ETF में जब आप पैसा डालते हैं, यूनिट खरीदते हैं, तो उसके बराबर अमाउंट का चांदी या सोना बाजार से खरीदना पड़ता है, फिजिकल खरीदना पड़ता है. तो ये इन्वेस्टमेंट डिमांड भी है जो बाजार को काफी ड्राइव कर रही है अभी.
Puneet, since you brought up the derivative markets, you're linking it to the metal commodity. How do you see Sensex and Nifty right now in the cash market, which is what we're discussing? There was a correction in the market today. Mid cap and small cap, in fact, went up by 0.2%. And if you look at the series for the month of January in the derivative futures and options segment, it's trading at a premium. So how do you see the market right now? We are right now in the middle of the month. There is a lot of activity in the F&O market, which is much bigger than the cash market.
So Arjun, of course, stock markets are as active as ever, and derivatives market particularly. And we should remember that we are now just a couple of weeks away from budget, which is a very important market event for the stock markets. And we have seen a lot of activity from foreign investors who are selling continuously into these markets. We have seen substantial buying by mutual funds who had a record inflow of money into SIPs last month. And so mutual fund money continues to flow into the market. To my mind, as far as I can see, these markets are very, very volatile, but that trading in a very tight range, about 500-600 points. On the downside, you see Nifty at about 25,600-700 points. Upside, we have seen 26,300 points. So this 600-700 point range is where the markets are happening. But the volume of trading is less right now. The volumes are less. We are looking forward to some very important IPOs coming up in next 2-3 months. We recently read in the newspapers that NSE has been will be approved within a short period of time. Then there are a couple of other major IPOs coming up. So I think stock markets right now are really in a tight range and looking for more liquid investments.
Another flavor is PSU banking, which has gone up by 2.4%. And it's not just about the repo rate, which is at 5.25%. You have the central bank cut the repo rate by 25 basis points. Credit growth has gone up. NPS come down. But PSU banking is also seeing consolidation, a merger of companies, and even favorable third quarter earnings, which we've seen in metals as well, which is why the valuations went up today. So how do you see PSU banking? Because they are looking at value investing. That's what the story is saying. It's all about value investing.
So interestingly, yesterday and today, we had two important PSU banks come out with their numbers, and the numbers are ahead of what the market was expecting. The earnings have gone up. Net profit went up quite handsomely. While the deposits, there was a stagnation. So we could see there's a stagnation in deposits. The interest income is not going up, but they're able to protect their margins. They're able to protect their profits. And I think, like you said, they have become very attractive on PE multiples, because usually private sector banks, which are the favorite with investors, they used to trade at very high PE multiples. Now PSU banks, which are growing at an equally strong pace, they're also they're available at much lower PE multiples. So I guess that is what is attracting investors.
Price to earnings.
Price to earnings.
और चलते हैं एशिया और यूरोप के बाजारों का हाल भी जान लेते हैं। एशिया के अधिकांश बाजारों में आज तेजी देखी गई। जापान का निकेई सूचकांक लगभग 1.5% तक बढ़ा। इस खबर के फैलने के बाद कि प्रधानमंत्री सनाए तकाइची जल्दी ही मध्यावधि चुनाव की घोषणा कर सकती है, निकेई 54,341 अंकों की रिकॉर्ड ऊंचाई पर पहुंच गया। दक्षिण कोरिया का कोस्पी सूचकांक 0.6% से अधिक, हांगकांग का हैंगसेंग सूचकांक 0.5% से अधिक और सिंगापुर का स्टेट्स टाइम्स इंडेक्स 0.1% से अधिक बढ़ा। वहीं चीन का शंघाई कंपोजिट सूचकांक 0.3% से ज्यादा गिर गया। आज प्रमुख यूरोपीय सूचकांकों में मिला जुला रुख देखने को मिला। अंतर्दिवसीय कारोबार में समाचार तैयार किए जाने तक लंदन का फुटसी लगभग 0.3% तक बढ़ता दिखाई दिया। फ्रांस के कैक में बढ़त 0.1% की रही। जर्मनी का डेक्स लगभग 0.2% तक गिर गया। पुनीत जी, आप क्या कहेंगे? एशिया के बाजारों का जो हाल हमने आज देखा, खासतौर से जापान का और चीन से भी बड़ी खबर आई है कि वहां पर जो उनका ट्रेड है वो काफी अच्छी एनकरेजिंग फिगर्स हैं, तो आप क्या कहेंगे इसके बारे में?
अमरीश, देखिए, एशियाई बाजार तो ज्यादातर जो अमेरिका का लीड है उसको फॉलो कर रहे हैं। अमेरिका में हम देख रहे हैं कि हालांकि वह बहुत उथल पुथल है पॉलिटिकल लेवल पर, और यूएस, जो कि बहुत फियर्ड इशू था कि गवर्नमेंट और फेड का आपस में टकराव हो सकता है वहां पर, तो वो हुआ। उसके बावजूद हमने देखा सरप्राइजिंगली कि स्टॉक मार्केट्स अमेरिका में अभी तो बिल्कुल अनफेज्ड हैं, उनको लगता है कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, और एशिया के बाजार जो है वो उसी को फॉलो कर रहे हैं। भारत में ये ट्रेंड थोड़ा सा फर्क रहा है, बिकॉज एफआईआईज भारत में सेलिंग करी और भारत के बाजारों ने पिछले पूरे वर्ष अंडर परफॉर्म किया है। तो एशियाई बाजार तो टोटली अमेरिका को फॉलो कर रहे हैं। जैसा वहां पर यूएस फेड का रुख रहेगा लिक्विडिटी लेकर, वैसे ही मुझे लगता है ट्रेंड रहेगा।
चीन के बारे में आप क्या कहेंगे? जिससे जो खबर है ट्रेड को लेके कि उनका 3.8% जो पिछले 2025 में बढ़ा है।
चीन के ट्रेड के जो आंकड़े बहुत अच्छे हैं, बल्कि मैं कहूंगा चौंकाने वाले हैं, क्योंकि अमेरिका से उनका ट्रेड कम हुआ है, लेकिन चीन का ट्रेड जो बाकी दुनिया से वो बड़ा है। अब चीन के बाजारों के बारे में खास बात यह है कि चीन के बाजारों में अभी काफी दिन से छुट्टियां चल रही थी और ये बाजार अब दोबारा से खुले हैं, काफी लंबे। उनका न्यू ईयर, चाइनीज न्यू ईयर का जो वो रहता है ब्रेक, तो उसके बाद ये खुले हैं। पर मुझे लगता है कि चाइनीज अर्थव्यवस्था जो है वो काफी स्ट्रांग प्रदर्शन कर रही है।
Puneet, once again asking about China, because it's $1.2 trillion trade surplus. It's a big number. And correct me if I'm wrong, the US tariff policy on China is at 155%. And despite this, and this information is correct, how is it that the US and other markets are importing even more in 2025 from China? Are they hit by imported inflation by this? And yet China's trade has not abated. 1.2 trillion is a trade surplus.
So they have record trade surplus, and clearly their trade with the world on a global stage has gone up, even with vis-a-vis America. So you will find there are a lot of exemptions to the products that they're... So they had some kind of a trade deal, a semi-trade deal you can say, with America, where a large number of products have either been exempted or America is exporting them to China. Like soybean, we know they're exporting China, and they're reciprocal arrangements. So this tariff of 150%, I think it's just a headline number. On the ground, you will find that it is not really affected them. Of course, China's exports to America are not growing. They're in fact shrinking a little bit. They're not affected that much. But
As compared to last year, it's gone up.
It's gone up, but it's not galloping away. What China is doing is they're focusing on diversifying their export markets, and they have done very well on that. And the data is there for us to see that. So I think that is also the template that India wants to follow. We also want to diversify our markets away from US, from over-dependence on US markets. And therefore we see all these FTAs being signed with the European Union, with New Zealand, with countries in Africa. I think that's the way forward.
Well, let's have a look at the U.S. markets now. U.S. stocks ended lower yesterday, dragged by the financial sector. Dow Jones Industrial Average dipped 0.8%, S&P 500 slipped 0.2%, and the Nasdaq Composite Index lost 0.1%. On the economic front, headline U.S. consumer price inflation rose 2.7% in December on an annual basis, matching the November reading. On a month-on-month basis, all items CPI increased by 0.3% according to data released by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And I think there's a linkage to the previous question with imports from China at such a high tariff rate, which is not abated by any means. And of course, there are exemptions and exceptions to this tariff book that the U.S. employs on China. 2.7%. Is U.S. in the safe zone? Are they doing well economically?
So if statistically you see 2.7 is a very benign number. It's not terribly high. And it is within the shouting range of what they really want to do, which is about 2%. But I think on the ground, if you see the reports coming from USA, there's this whole wave of affordability protests or affordability issue. So it seems that this inflation data does not reflect the ground realities. What people are really consuming, there seems to be some kind of a disconnect between what is actually being consumed by people, what kind of inflationary pressures they follow in terms of housing, in terms of rent, in terms of other items of consumption, and the data we are getting. I find this trend really worldwide. I find a lot of low inflation prints across the countries, whereas people on the ground complain that they have very high inflation.
As we speak, the U.S. market is correcting. There is a lot of news coming in terms of their geopolitical ambitions as well. How is the market reacting to that?
So, if you really ask me, I think Dow Jones or US markets have had a very charmed life so far. They've been able to navigate a lot of challenges, a lot of traditional fears. But my sense is that at some point it will give. It cannot go on challenging and upsetting all the rules of economic theory. I think the markets are really going to have a very tough time going forward.
In more news from the macroeconomic front, India's wholesale price index based inflation WPI edged up to 0.83% in December on an annual basis from a deflation of 0.32% in November. On a month-on-month basis, WPI rose to 0.71% last month. Data released by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry showed that the positive rate of inflation during December is primarily due to an increase in prices of other manufacturing, minerals, manufacture of machinery and equipment, manufacture of food products and textiles. Manufactured products, which carry the highest weightage in the WPI basket, recorded an annual inflation rate of 1.82% in December. Inflation in primary articles rose 0.21%. However, fuel and power segment continue to remain in negative territory, registering a deflation of 2.31%. The WPI food index remained unchanged in December, showing zero inflation as compared with the same period last year. Typically, we look at CPI, but wholesale price index has a major weightage when it comes to manufactured products. How should our listeners on Akashvani actually weigh when they talk about WPI as compared to CPI?
So CPI is the prices that consumers are paying, but WPI is the prices which producers are getting. So, and we want this inflation rate to be somewhat benign. So last month when we had a deflation, it is actually bad. That means the manufacturers are not getting the right prices. They're not getting any higher profits for manufacturing goods. So in economic theory, we want a benign inflation. I think 1% to 2% benign inflation or WPI is good for manufacturers. It will incentivize them to produce more.
In more news, Niti Aayog today released the Export Preparedness Index, EPI 2024, a comprehensive assessment of export readiness across India's states and union territories. Briefing the media after the release of the index in New Delhi today, Niti Aayog's CEO, BVR Subramaniam, highlighted that India's export trajectory is increasingly shaped by the preparedness of states and districts. He also stressed on enhancing export readiness at the subnational level for sustaining long-term growth, employment generation, reduction of regional disparities, and deeper integration into the global value chains amid heightened global volatility. We have a report.
The 2024 index is structured around 4 pillars, further disaggregated into 13 sub-pillars. The 2024 edition indicates that Maharashtra, along with Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh are leading performers among large states. Uttarakhand, Jammu and Kashmir, Nagaland, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu, and Goa are listed as leading performers in the category of small states, northeastern states and union territories. EPI provides an evidence-based framework to evaluate the strength, resilience and inclusiveness of subnational export ecosystems. The index identifies key structural challenges, growth levers and policy opportunities for enhancing export competitiveness at the state and district levels. It also recognizes the diversity of subnational economic structures and their critical role in advancing India's global trade ambitions. With Dilnashi Arzu, this is Vishnu PS, Akashvani News, Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that farmers are the strong partners in nation building and their efforts are greatly strengthening the Self-Reliant India campaign. He said the centre is committed to empowering farmers and is working tirelessly in this direction. Mr. Modi said this while addressing the gathering after taking part in Pongal celebrations organized at the residence of the Union Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting, Dr. L. Murugan, in New Delhi today.
और विदेश सचिव विक्रम मिस्री ने आज नई दिल्ली में चीन की कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी की केंद्रीय समिति में अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मामलों की उप मंत्री सुश्री सुन हयान से मुलाकात की। विदेश मंत्रालय द्वारा जारी बयान में कहा गया है कि दोनों देशों ने व्यापार और जन केंद्रित गतिविधियों को प्राथमिकता देते हुए द्विपक्षीय संबंधों को स्थिर करने और पुनर्निर्माण में हुई प्रगति पर चर्चा की। पुनीत, आप क्या कहेंगे? बहुत अब जिस तरह का भारत और अमेरिका के बीच में जो टैरिफ को लेके संघर्ष चल रहा है, उस बीच में भारत चाइना की तरफ जाता हुआ दिखाई दे रहा है, कितना महत्वपूर्ण है। और इसके साथ ही मैं जिक्र करना चाहूंगा कि जयशंकर और रूबियो की भी जो बीच में बातचीत हुई है, जिसमें काफी अच्छे संकेत मिल रहे हैं। तो ये भारत चाइना की तरफ कितना जा रहा है, अमेरिका से जो कितने रेजोल्यूशन होगा टैरिफ को लेके, आप क्या कहेंगे?
अमरीश, देखिए, ये मल्टीपोलर वर्ल्ड डेवलप हो रहा है और हर देश को अपने अपने एक स्ट्रैटेजी, मल्टीलेटरल ट्रेड रिलेशंस बनाने पड़ेंगे। हमें अमेरिका से भी अच्छे संबंध रखने हैं, चाइना से भी संबंध हमें जो भी जिस प्रकार से हम मैनेज कर सकते हैं वो करने हैं, और दूसरे देशों से, ग्लोबल साउथ है, यूरोप है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया है, न्यूजीलैंड है। अब मुझे लगता है ये समय आ गया है कि आप एक तरफा विचार नहीं रख सकते। तो अच्छी बात है, भारत का एक नया चाइना से एक नया आयाम, नए डायमेंशंस में हम ग्रोथ हो रहा है। आई थिंक इट्स वेलकम।
Let's have a look at the crude oil market. Global crude oil prices rose today on fears of Iranian supply disruptions due to civil unrest. Brent crude was trading around 1.4% up at $66 and 39 cents per barrel, and WTI crude was also trading almost 1.4% higher at $62 per barrel when reports last came in. Very briefly about the oil market, because we're talking about sanctions on Iran, on Russian oil imports as well. Iran is a new addition and it appears to be driving up oil prices artificially. Your comments?
So interestingly, in fact, a lot of stuff like war between Israel and Palestine and Israel attacking Iran, none of that moved the needle on crude oil prices. For the first time, the unrest within Iran seems to be affecting oil prices. So I believe that this is a serious event for the oil markets, really.
Let's have a look at the precious metals market now. In the Indian bullion market, 24 karat gold was trading over 0.8% up at 1,43,920 rupees per 10 grams. Silver was also trading more than 5% up at 2,89,180 rupees per kilogram a short while ago.
और मल्टी कमोडिटी एक्सचेंज में ताज़ा समाचार मिलने तक फरवरी अनुबंध वाला सोना 0.8% बढ़कर 1,43,400 रुपए प्रति 10 ग्राम पर था, और मार्च अनुबंध वाली चांदी लगभग 5% बढ़कर 2,88,899 रुपए प्रति किलोग्राम पर थी। और चलते हैं कार्यक्रम की समाप्ति की ओर। पुनीत जी, इस कार्यक्रम में भाग लेने और प्रमुख खबरों पर चर्चा करने के लिए आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद अमरीश।
Let's have a look at the closing headlines now. Benchmark domestic stock market indices end with losses. Sensex drops nearly 250 points. Nifty slips below 25,700. Wholesale price inflation edges up 2.83% in December last year. And in the Indian bullion market, silver prices rise around 5%. And that's it in this edition of Market Mantra. For now, goodbye.
में विशेषज्ञों द्वारा विचार उनके अपने हैं। आकाशवाणी अपने श्रोताओं को सलाह देता है कि निवेश का निर्णय करने से पहले स्वयं रिसर्च करें या किसी पंजीकृत सलाहकार से राय लें।
Market Mantra.